it's Tina and I'm back. And I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe. If you're also back, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again. But if you're new and maybe you like what you see, please consider subscribing. We have tons of fun here on this channel talking about makeup and all things beauty. And today I have a really fun get ready with me video in store. I decided to kill multiple birds with one video. That's not how it goes, but here's the thing. I am accomplishing a few things in this one video. I am going to show you guys how to create a simple smoky eye. All right, this isn't simple per se, but I'm showing you guys how to do a traditional smoky eye the easiest way that I have found, and I have tons of tips and tricks in store showcasing this look. So you're gonna see how I created this smoky eye, how you can do this for yourself. I'm gonna include, again, a bunch of tips and tricks. I'm also trying out some new products because why not, right? One of them happens to be the Danessa Myrick's Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint. So this is the newest launch from Danessa Myrick's. It is a skin tint, and a few of you guys asked me to try this out, so that's what I'm doing. I'm also using some new palettes from Sydney Grace. So we have the Love's Journey palette. This recently launched with their Christmas in July sale. These palettes were sent to me in PR, by the way. This is the Heaven on Earth palette. I have the deep versions that I'm using in this palette to create this look. And I also have some new bronzer sticks from Tarte. So these are the Man Eater Silk Sticks. I have a blush shade as well as a couple of the bronzer shades. So I'm going to use them in this video. And I have some new lip products from Eldridge. These are the Velveteen Liquid Lip Color. That's what I'm wearing right now. So this video is jam-packed. It's covering a lot of topics. We're covering a smoky eye for beginners as well as testing out some new products. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to see how I accomplish this look and see me test out some new products, then stay tuned and I will talk to you soon. Alright guys, so as usual, we're starting off with a clean, freshly washed face. The only thing that I've done so far is fill in my eyebrows. So all the steps that I'm going to take right now, from prepping my skin and priming my eyes, I will be doing on camera with you guys. So let's go in with a bit of moisturizer. This is from Kiehl's. So they sent this my way and I definitely want to try it out. This is their Super Multi-Corrective Soft Cream. It says it's a lightweight formula that visibly firms, lifts, and smooths, boosts radiance, moisturizes, evens texture, and enhances healthy complexion. That is a lot, but this is a lightweight kind of gel cream, so it's perfect for my oily skin. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that all over my face, avoiding my T-zone, specifically my nose. I don't like to get moisturizer on my nose because I get very, very oily. Ooh, my skin is stinging. What happened? I think I scratched myself right here. So there's a little burning sensation. Anyway, any excess, I'll bring it down my neck just to spread out the moisturizer so I don't get too much on my oily skin. I just need enough to hydrate the skin. Now this moisturizer feels very lightweight, but it also feels very moisturizing. So it doesn't feel like a water cream or a gel cream like I'm used to. So just be mindful of that. It's a little bit more hydrating. So if you have normal skin or dry skin, you may still really like it, you know, even though it's meant to be a lightweight. All right, let's get to priming our eyelids. So I'm going in with my Urban Decay Anti-Aging Primer Potion. And for any eye look, I recommend going in with an eyeshadow primer first. And I mentioned this many times, but I'm gonna say it over and over again, that an eyeshadow base and primer are your best friends. When it comes to applying eyeshadows, especially if you have oily lids, an eyeshadow primer is going to save the day because it's going to lock those oils in on your eyelids so your eyeshadows won't crease. But even if your eyelids are not oily, it will kind of just seal everything in and give you an even base to start with. All right, so I told you I already filled in my eyebrows, but my next step is to always go in with concealer. This is optional, all right? You don't have to do this, but I like to do it. I'm going to go in with my by Terry Stylo-Expert Click Stick. This is just a stick concealer, and I have my little scar still at the center of my brows. I got a pimple under my nose right above my lip, and I'm gonna apply some of this also under my brows. This will help to even out my brows a little bit, but also act as a highlight under my brows. The shade I have in the stylo stick, by the way, is number 15. So now I'm gonna just go in with a concealer brush. This is a very fine concealer brush. It's from the Makeup Shack. It's the T72 brush. I don't even know if the Makeup Shack is still around, much less, but any concealer brush that you find that has a very defined shape to it will work, because that way you can create a sharp outline under your brows and really define the shape. Again, this is optional because I know not everybody likes that defined shape under their brows. I personally do, so that's why I always go in with some concealer. And now I'll go in with my Anissa Beauty concealer brush. This is an angled, fluffy, well, it's not fluffy, it's just a bigger concealer brush to blend out the edge of the concealer and set everything in place like so. So you see how now my brows are cleaned up, they're very defined, and I have a little bit of a base under my brows. So if you're skipping concealer, this is your next step, to grab a base. For my cream base, I use a MAC paint pot. This is in the shade Laying Low. I recommend the MAC paint pots over anything else. You can also use cream eyeshadows, but I find that not every cream eyeshadow is built the same way. Some of them will crease on your eyelids. A MAC paint pot is going to act as a primer base combination because it will not crease. At least I have not experienced a paint pot creasing on me. So it sets down, gives your eyelids a nice even canvas again to work with, and it also evens out any discoloration, which is what I'm using it for now. My eyelids tend to be a little bit darker than the rest of my face, so I go in with a skin tone base to even everything out. So I'm starting off with a blank canvas. I also go into the inner tear duct just to make sure I'm canceling out any darkness that may still linger there, because you know, I'm tired. All right, let's go in with our eyeshadow palettes now. So there are two options available. I have the Love's Journey and Heaven on Earth palettes from Sydney Grace. They recently launched these during their Christmas in July sale. I don't know if you guys were able to pick them up, but they sent them my way and I am happy to indulge because they are neutral palettes and they're gonna be perfect for this look. So this is the Love's Journey palette and it's the deep option. So they have a light version and a deep version that has different like transition shades. They're gonna be lighter in the light version, obviously, and then deeper in the deep version, but the majority of the shades are the same. Then this is the Heaven on Earth palette. This one has kind of army green shades with blues mixed in, and I love this option as well. It's also the deep version. I'm grabbing this one first just because they have beautiful caramel transition shades that will work on my skin tone. So then let's start out with the shade Adventurous and then I'll go into Unstoppable. So we're gonna go between these two shades. So what you wanna do is grab a shade that's very similar to your skin tone and buff it in your crease. You can also use a face powder or even the bronzer for this, but you want something that is skin tone adjacent. And for this, Adventurous works perfectly. You can't even tell I'm applying product, right? I'm using a jumbo worker brush for this just to lay down the color because I'm not looking for precision. I'm just laying down color in the crease and I want to apply it quickly and just cover a large area right on that brow bone space. So that's gonna set down the concealer, but also give us like a buff-in blend-in space. If you don't know, this is from Sonia G. All right, now that we have that down, let's go in with the unstoppable shade, which is the deeper shade. So again, you can use a bronzer. You don't have to get like a separate product for this. If you have a face powder and a bronzer, use those two. So this is gonna be like the bronzer shade that's a couple of shades darker than my actual skin tone. So I'm gonna turn the brush on the side and get that just in the crease line using windshield wiper motion, and I'm going right across my lids, so we're getting the entire crease line area, and I'm just using back and forth windshield wiper motions again. With a smoky eye, it tends to be very circular, so you're not concentrating color necessarily on the outer V, you're doing like a full wash over that crease line. So again, going in with the color, building it up, you're gonna start seeing a gradient from a deeper shade up to a more natural shade in your crease. All right, now that we have that down, let's go to the Love's Journey palette, which has a ton of different neutral shades. So to start building our dimension now, I'm going in with a smaller blending brush. Let's grab my BH Cosmetics number 5 brush, and let's grab the shade Steadfast Love. It's this deeper, cool tone brown, and I'm going to grab that on the tip of my brush, and now I'm going to start blending from the center of my crease line. So I'm not even applying that on the outer crease yet. I'm just concentrating it on the center of my crease line, and then I'll blur the color, again doing that windshield wiper motion to get it all over my crease, but I'm concentrating the majority of the color on the center of the crease, and I'm angling the brush down so the color is downwards on my lid space instead of going upwards into the crease. I'm kind of buffing it back and forth, but with my color on the underside of the brush. So the majority of the color will be lower down on the crease. And again, you'll see it starts creating that smoky effect. And this is how you build dimension and you minimize the amount of blending you have to do later on when you start going in with your really dark colors, because you're building that dimension slowly rather than grabbing like a really rich deep shade and trying to blend out the edge afterwards, which is also an option, right? You can start with the deepest shade and then blend out the edges with lighter shades, progressively making it more of a gradient. But I find that using lighter shades and then adding the deeper shades is a much easier way. So there we have the first deep shade. Now this is the point where you have to decide just how deep you want to go. You can go with a rich dark brown or you can go with a black. For this look, I'm going to go with a rich dark brown. I feel like that's easier to control, it's easier for a beginner, and it's also a more wearable smoky eye. It's not a black, it's not too intense, it's not too overwhelming. You can even get away with wearing it in the daytime without feeling like you're too overdone, you know? So let's use the deep browns, which great, this palette has a couple of those. So we have my everything, which is almost like a khaki blackened brown. It's deep and dark, but it has this olivey green touch to it. Let's try it out just to see how it goes. Again, apply the color on the edge of the brush, and then I'm going to come further down on my lid now. Should we zoom in? All right, so here we are. I'm angling the brush down again, and I'm coming a little bit more onto the lid rather than in the crease, and we're just gonna buff this color back and forth. Again, doing like a windshield wiper motion, just back and forth, building that color up. I'll go back in and pick more color up as I go, but I'm not going in full strength all at once. I'm building and blending as I go. So as I blend, I'll go in and pick up more color. Now what I like to do is grab a washcloth and clean my brush off. If things start getting a little bit out of hand, just clean your brush off so you get all the product off, and then go in with that clean brush and do some more blending. Now I'm doing circular motions, buffing motions, just to blend out any harsh lines. I do have a little bit of patchiness here, which we'll fix in a bit. I can show you how to fix that. Sometimes with darker colors, you'll get a gap where the color isn't quite sticking. We'll fix it. Don't worry about it. Just worry about the blend right now. All right, so we have the color down. Now let's go in and fix some of that patchiness by getting a shader brush, picking the color up on that shader brush, and now we're going to pack the color on. So tap, 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 and press that color over that patchiness, right? Over that patchy area. We're tapping the color in so it sticks. We've already blended the edge, so you don't want to keep going on the edge. You just want to concentrate the color on that patchy gap area. And then now you can go back in with a blending brush and go back and forth to blend the edges again. All right. Now I want to pick up an even richer color, which is going to be Us. It's this shade here. I don't know how that's going to look given that we have more of an olivey brown and this is more of a purpley brown. But now we're going to put this color on that gap in the center of the lid where we don't have any color right now. That's going to be the richest part of the smoky eye. And I should mention too, we're not pulling the color all the way on the inner tear duct, so there's going to be a little bit of a gap, but it's not a wide gap at this point. It's just going to be a little bit of a gap where we don't have that color laid down. And I'll pack this color on the lid just to cover up any, again, patchy areas, any spots that we have a gap. And now I'm going in with my blending brush. This time I'm picking up a clean one. This is from Sonia Kashuk. And I'm gonna go around the edge of the color. Now you can always do that final color with a black. I'm not doing that because I don't want a black eye, all right? I don't want that. But there is a black in this palette, Fools in Love. You can use that too, but I'm not going to. So now you can go up close, look at your blend, make sure everything's nice and blended. You can go back in again, fill in any sparse spots, do any extra blending that you need to do. But this is pretty much what your smoky eye will look like, right? Pull out. How crazy do you look? Is it too intense for you? Do you need to back off a bit? What do you think? What's the vibe? What is the vibe right now? I think we're fine. So I'm gonna grab a makeup wipe. And for me, a round smoky eye doesn't really work out because I have round big eyes. So I like to create a sharp outer V. And it's not necessarily going to be a crisp line. It's just gonna clean up the roundness. So it's a little sharper. It's a little bit more of a cat eye or winged out look like that. Easy peasy. And once I do that, I can take a step back and look at what's going on. And I see patchiness here. And I hate to say it, but I think that has to do with the eyeshadows themselves. They're not sticking as well as I would like them to. On this side, it's not as bad. But on this side, I definitely have, let me show you. I definitely have that. So when we talk about patchiness, that's what we're talking about. So you see everything, when my eyes open, everything looks blended and fine. It's cool, it's fine. And then you're like, what the hell is that? So let's fix it. I'm going to grab my Tropicolor palette, which is also from Sydney Grace. And I am going to grab the shader brush again from Sonia G. This is the Jumbo Blender. And I am going to grab the shade Cocoa Beans. It's that rich blackened brown. And I added this shade to my palette because I wanted to be able to use it for smoky looks like this. So we're gonna use that to cover that patchiness. And I think this shade should do it unless it's just too far gone and we have to go in with some more base or primer just to help the shadows to stick. But this color typically saves the day. All right, my AC just kicked on, so I'm sorry about that. But with other eyeshadows, you may not have this issue. It's just with this one, I'm having a little bit of an issue. All right, so we pretty much fixed it, but I do have to go back in now with the lighter shades we were using before. just to make sure we have a nice blend around the edges. So I'm gonna go back in with Steadfast Love and My Everything, which are those two lighter dark shades we were using, and a smaller brush. This is the A501 brush from BK Beauty and Angie Hot and Flashy, and just go around. Ooh, let me just zoom in so you can see, right? It makes sense. And I'm just gonna go lightly around the crease, right where the dark shade meets those lighter shades, and lightly blend the edge. So this is going to help us to fade out the edge, and I'll even put a little bit on the inner lid area just to blend out the edge right there and really smoke it out. Right, so we want to have that blown out effect. So you see now everything is nice and rich on the lid, but then it's faded out in the crease line. That is the effect that you're going for. And I'm glad I ran into these issues so I can show you how to fix them. Again, we had that harsh line. So see that harsh line of demarcation with the really rich shade? Now you're just gonna go back and forth with the lighter shades, right? And that will help to blur and blend out that harsh edge. So you see what I mean? I'm glad that I can demonstrate how to fix issues when you run into them. Just use a smaller blending brush because you want to keep the blend concentrated and apply the color. Ta-da! Everything is blended, everything's nice. It may look a little bit too high, so the next trick is to grab a skin tone shade again. The same one that you used before will work, but I'm going in with my tried and true, which is Blurr eyeshadow from Melt Cosmetics. And this is a MAC 242. And I'm going to use that shade to highlight my brow area, but also turn it on the side and help to blend out the edge of those darker shades as well. So this is going to help to fade the edges. Just go back and forth, kind of erasing the shades, blurring them a little bit so it doesn't look too high on the brow bone. And again, you can go back in with your other blending brush that you use for the darker shades and blend out the edge so everything merges together. So it's just going back and forth, right? Building, blending, blurring colors, because we don't want the tan shade of the highlight to really cancel out the smokiness. We want everything to kind of merge seamlessly so it fades upwards without any harsh lines. So you go back and forth, blend, keep blending, okay? Just keep blending. Go up close, look at your eyeshadow. I suggest having a magnified mirror. I have 5x zoom, 3x zoom, and 10x zoom for my mirror, so you can see up close what's going on. Is everything blended? And you will see we are nice and blended, baby. So now the next thing is to go in with an inner Tear-duct color. You can use something shimmery. I think an all matte smoky look is the way to go. I think that just looks better, but it's up to you what you want to do. What I will go in with is a lighter tan color. You can use the same highlight shade that I used, but since we have the palette, let's go back into the lightest shade, which is Adventurous. And I'm going to use a bullet brush. This is actually a Sonia G blender brush, and I'm going to apply that to the inner Tear-duct and blur it across into the lighter shades. So I'm brightening up that inner Tear-duct, but just a little bit. You see, it's not even given a highlight. It's just a lighter shade that's gonna lift the darkness on the inner Tear-duct. It doesn't have to be anything shimmery or too bright, just the skin tone shade. And there you have it. Now let's go on to the rest of the face, which this is a tip. Do your face makeup after your eyeshadow when it comes to a smoky eye, because this way you can clean up any darkness, any fallout from under your eyes and on your face with a makeup wipe without disturbing any base that you had perfected already. So I close my blinds so you can see more of what's going on my skin. I'm gonna go in with a Smashbox primer. This is the mattifying primer, and I'm going to apply that in my oily spot. So my T-zone, I know I already applied some concealer on my face, so I'm trying to avoid where I applied concealer. This is a nice primer. It's not as mattifying as, say, my L'Oreal primer. It feels a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more hydrating. That L'Oreal primer is definitely going to mattify. It just mattifies. So you want to moisturize and all that beforehand, but with the Smashbox one, it's almost like you can get away with using it as your moisturizer mattifying step. I'm just going back in. I'm such a stickler for blending that I will always just go back and try to blend some more. Anyway, let's use this new foundation. Oh my god. So this is the Danessa Myrick Beauty Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint. So this is the newest launch from Danessa Myrick, and I wasn't going to pick this up, honestly. I was like, whatever. I don't care about the Danessa Myrick's complexion line because she goes for a different look than I'm interested in, which is a very glowy look. I don't like that. But it's Auntie Danessa and it's a skin tint, so let's try it out. So the shade I picked up is 11, and can I just tell you that is a perfect skin tone match. Wow. All right, let's see what the description for this says. So shade 11 is for tan to dark skin with neutral olive undertones. Spot on, spot on. This is perfect. It's perfect. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Even though it has a radiant finish, I will put up with it because the skin tone match is so perfect. So it has light coverage, there's collagen in it. It says it's a hydrating and smoothing skincare infused skin tint that provides light coverage and a skin light radiant finish. It's light, it's radiant, it visibly smooths skin's texture and plumps fine lines. There are ceramides here that strengthen, care for, and protect the skin's barrier, and a cactus extract, which is an antioxidant booster that hydrates and soothes. Okay. So we're doing skincare and a little bit of tint. I am with it, okay? I expected it to be a lot glowy. Well, I take that back. I was almost gonna say I thought it would have been glowier, but now that I really see my skin, yeah, it's hella shiny. It's hella shiny, but we're gonna work with it. I mean, look at that skin tone match. I mean, come on. And it feels very thin. It feels lightweight. Even though it's a skincare infused product, it doesn't feel thick and heavy at all. It feels really lightweight and comfortable. So far, I like how it feels. I like the color. I don't mind the finish as much, but we're gonna have to mattify because there is no way. There is no way. It definitely is a light coverage though. You can still see like hyperpigmentation. Oh, need to blend hair. Hold up. Blend you out, girl. Blend. So it gives a very light tint to the skin. It kind of evens out my complexion. And this looks exactly as I expected it to look. Very moist. Very glowy. This is what Danessa demonstrates on her Instagram feed. It's glowy. I can't do it. I cannot, no, ma'am, no, not doing it. Not on my oily skin. So I'm going to go in with concealer. I don't have a new one, so I'm just going to use my Sephora Best Skin Ever in 35N, and I'll just apply a lot of it under my eyes and around my mouth. This is a smoky eye, okay? And one thing you got to do when you wear a smoky eye is make sure you cancel out the darkness that's under your eyes. And if you don't use like a full coverage foundation that blanks out the rest of your skin, make sure the under eyes are free of darkness because you don't want to look like a panda, because that's what's going to end up happening. You're going to look a little bit panda-ish. Panda-esque, if you will, right? So I'm going to blend this out. This is a Rare Beauty brush. Which one is this? The foundation brush, the 110. I'm just swiping that under my eyes to blend out the concealer and angling it up against that eyeshadow. This eyeshadow is so pretty, guys. Stop. I did struggle a little bit, which I am still happy about, but you won't normally struggle that much with a really good quality eyeshadow. I don't know what happened here with the Sydney Gray shades because they tend to be pretty nice. I mean, the dark brown shade I did with them really came in the clutch, so I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. All right, my concealer is blended out. Before I go in with anything else, I want to go ahead and set under my eyes before the concealer creases. So I'm using my One Size powder. This is the loose powder in the shade Sweet Honey, which is one of the newer shades that was added, and I love it so much. It is so perfect for under my eyes. If you are my complexion or even a little bit deeper, this is gonna be such a, I mean, look at that. Like, I'm blurred, it's so good. And I'll also set between my brows and my nose, okay? Because that's where I get shiny, and this powder, it sets everything down. And I'm just using a dry e.l.f. camo sponge. It's dry, I don't have to dampen it for this. I just pick up the powder and apply it under the eyes. Oh my god, that's so pretty. All right, I have another new product that I want to try. These are from Tarte. This is the Man Eater Silk Stick Bronzer. So these are stick bronzers. I picked up 3 shades, and I think the shade that matches me best is Nightfall, or it could be After Dark. After Dark looks like that. Let's use that for a little a little contour down the nose. Okay, okay, that's a little rich. I know Midnight's gonna be way too dark. I mean, it's way too rich, right? Let me see. Yeah, that's way too rich, but I'll just put a little bit so you can see it. But I think the shade that I need is Nightfall, so I'm gonna apply a little bit. I think Nightfall is just a little bit richer than After Dark. So we'll put a little bit on the hairline. Maybe the deep one, Midnight, isn't that bad after all. I mean, right? You know what? All three are fine. Let's go in and blend that out. I'm going to use a different brush today. This is my Smashbox Full Coverage Foundation brush. And I'm just going to blend this backwards into my hairline. So a smaller brush will give me more precision. And this product, ooh, it's very blendable. It's soft. It's not matte at all. It seems like more of a creamy silk finish. Just a little bit. Okay. So I'll blend that out. It blends really easily. It kind of glides over the skin really effortlessly. I don't mind that at all. And then to blend out the edge of the contour around my nose, let me use another one of my Anissa Beauty brushes just to do a smaller, more detailed blend here. Okay. I don't usually contour my nose. It's not my thing, but you know, a little contour won't hurt. I also have the Man Eater Slick Stick blush. So this one is in the shade Pink. I don't know that this is gonna give me too much, but I'll just grab a little bit of it before I powder the rest of my face. I'll just pop it on the cheeks. It seems like it may be a little bit too dewy, but let's do it nonetheless. I mean, what's the worst that could happen with all this dew on my face? I could look greasy, that's what. This pink is okay. It's a very soft pink. There's not much to it at all. So let's go ahead and powder the rest of my face. So I'm going in with my powder from Kosas. This is the Cloud Set powder. I'm just going to set all of my face down now that we have all the cream products on. If you want a very subtle cream bronzer stick, I think the Tarte ones are gonna be good because it's very subtle, like it's very soft. There's really not a lot of color payoff at all. You see, it's very, very subtle. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna grab a new bronzer that I have from Westman Atelier. Oh, I know, she is pricey. So they added a new deeper shade to the line. I had the darker shade from them, and it works beautifully. It's one of my favorite bronzers, but it could stand to be a little bit richer. So now they added this shade, Beau Soleil. It's a richer shade, but it works for my complexion as well. So I'm just gonna tap a little bit of that on my hairline, blend it out so it's not too harsh. It's a little bit too rich for me. It's not subtle. So if you are a little darker than me, this color should work for you, but it doesn't go very, very dark. I can still use it. So just bear that in mind. It's not a completely rich shade, but I'm glad they added a darker shade, because the two shades that they have right now, no, what are you doing? But there you have it. I think I'm gonna do lashes. So let's do mascara, lashes, and I'll come back to finish up the rest of the face with you guys. All right, so I am back and I just applied my lashes. I changed my earrings and my outfit, but like other than that, I haven't done anything else to my face. So let's show you what the eyes look like now. All right, nice and smoky and beautiful. To finish up though, I am going to go in with a black liner on my lower waterline, because I feel like this just ties everything together. And if you have smaller eyes and you don't want to close your eyes off too much, what you can do is just apply the black liner on the outer lower lash line. So just right on that outer lower lash line to smoke it out a bit without closing off your eyes. But because my eyes are big, I can go all the way in. All the way. Quick lighting adjustment because things just got dark. But I was saying, to further smoke out the eye, we can go in with a little bit of one of the dark shades that we used on the lid. I'm going in with the one from the Heaven on Earth palette. This is Into the Jungle. And I'm just going to run that on the lower lash line using a MAC 242 flat shader brush. So this allows me to get right up against the lash line and really smoke that out. Maybe I should zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. So I get the color just on the edge of the brush, position it under my lashes right against my lash line, and just go back and forth. And that's going to give us a little bit of smokiness on that lower lash line. I'm not pulling it all the way in because I don't want to close off my eye, and I'm not pulling it too far down. And that's it. That's as smoky as we're gonna get. So here you have the eyes with the lashes on, the liner, and a little smoky lower lash line. Everything is blended. It looks great. This is your run-of-the-mill smoky eye. Now you can switch up the colors. You can use like a rich blue or purple on the lid. That's gonna add some color, but then you'll still have the framing of the brown. You can also use a black to really smoke it out. But I feel like a rich black and brown is so much more flattering. I think it looks much better than using a black. But it's up to you what you want to do. I mean, it still looks smoky, it still looks rich, but it's not too overwhelming, and I absolutely love this look. All right, time to add a little bit more to the cheeks, because whatever I did here did not amount to a damn thing. So I'm gonna go in with this blush from House Labs. It is the shade Pomelo Beach, and I'm going to pop that on the cheek area. Now the thing about a smoky eye is you can get away with pairing it with any color on the cheek and lip. So you can wear a red lip, a nude lip, you can wear any color at all, because the smoky eye is more of a neutral. That's why I say with a brown, you're gonna get more of a neutral look, and it works well. And again, pairing it with whatever you want on the lips and on the cheeks as well. So here I'm using a peach color, but you can use a muted berry, you can use a lavender, you can use a red, whatever you think works best with your complexion. And for the lips, so these are the Velveteen liquid lip colors from Lisa Eldridge. As I mentioned, they have a very thin, tickly doe foot applicator. Oh my god, this is awful. I hate these kinds of doe foot applicators because oh my god, I can't stand it. They're like the standard old school doe foot applicators, and they're stiff, right? But the thing about them is they tickle a lot. Oh my god. Oh, they're tickling. Okay. I ain't trying to get through this. So this is supposed to be like a thin formula that you can use for that blurred lip look, or you can layer it on to give more opacity and more intensity. And Lisa demonstrated this in her video and I was all for it, right? She says it's supposed to be a comfortable formula that's not drying, because that's what she hated about original liquid lipsticks, right? So I was like, I'm all about it. The shade that I just put on was Fawn. So just a light layer. Doesn't really blank out the lips. It just gives a little bit of color. That's cute. It's cute. Here's the thing though. For the price point of these, you kind of want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth. So if it's just going to give you a tint of color, I don't know that it's worth that price, you know? This one is a fair. Does she have a dark brown on? Because that would be fire. This one is a little bit more on the peachy side. Is that what I'm going for? I don't know that that's what I'm going for. But they're very easy to apply. They feel like a liquid lipstick, right? Like an original thin liquid lipstick. And they glide on really easily. The applicator is a little tickly. Let's see how they set down. Let's let this sit in place and see how it dries down. Should I do a nude lip or should I do red? You can go either way, like I said, with this. It's pretty. It's like this blurred velvet look. Do you see it? It's very subtle. Just a little hint of color. Looks almost powdery. It does look velvety. I don't know if this color is doing enough for me. Maybe I should just go in with some lip balm over this. Or should I go in with a richer lip? Let's try the lip balm. Well, this is a lip oil from Clarins. It's the chocolate shade. So it will give it a little bit more brown. Okay, that's cute. So these layer fine with a lip oil or a lip gloss. You see? Okay. I think that works. That's a cute little, you know, neutral moment, right? But I feel like I still want to do a red lip. Hold on. Let me just give you a little bit more of this moment before I take it off. All right. Oh, that's removing pretty easily. All right, Lisa. I still think these are pricey though, but overall her products are pricey. So it's like, manage your expectations. Like, what are you willing to pay? Plus there's like inflation pricing going on. So it's just, what are you willing to pay? Okay, let's go in with the shade Jazz. So this is, oh God, yes. So this is like a rich burgundy. Let me shut up. Oh yes. So I didn't even re-dip. This is like one dip in the tube. I didn't re-dip or anything. But okay. I'm gonna go ahead and like really make sure this is defined and done well, because I was just using my mirror that's way out there and I don't think it looks neat. So I'm gonna make this a little bit neater and be right back. All right, Jazz is where it's at. Okay, I applied like another layer just to even everything out, but look at this. Girl, it's, and the opacity, it's there, it's rich. Oh my God, this is gorgeous. Oh, dear Jesus, I love it so much. This is really pretty. This, oh, ooh, boobs, child. I am giving way too much of a Vixen vibe right now, like, girl, stop it. Stop it. I mean, what do you do when you're wearing a smoky eye, right? Let me just tuck that in a little bit. But here you have it. This is the final look. And I am so in love with this smoky eye right now. I don't do smoky eyes a lot, but this is great for like a night out. If you want to go to a club or you're going to dinner and you just want to amp up the Vixen vibe. this is where it's at. And you can always tone it down for a daytime look. So you can just use lighter browns and go with it. But even this kind of smoky eye, I think, is suitable for the daytime because it's not too intense. And you pair it with a very subtle lip or even the lip gloss and you're set. If you really want to amp it up though, add a vampy lip. Like, come on. If this was even a red like ribbon, which I also got, I think this would be really sexy and sassy. Let's try a ribbon a little bit. Let's put a little bit of it on the center. See what it does. I don't want to keep layering this though because I feel like the more you layer them, the tighter they feel. Like they do feel like a liquid lip. Yeah, they feel like a liquid lip. I'm gonna have to test them out some more to see if they're really comfortable and not drying. But this right now feels like a traditional liquid lip that is similar to the KVD Beauty liquid lipsticks. They're not like a whipped moussey texture that we've gotten used to from like Rare Beauty, Makeup by Mario, or even Kaleidos makeup. That airy whipped texture that gives you a velvet look, gives you a matte liquid lip look, but it's not like a true liquid. This is a true liquid. So feels a little tighter than I'd expected. I'd expected it to, okay, the boobs are really popping out. You're just gonna have to deal, okay? I can't control them at this point. You're just gonna have to deal with that tight effect. I don't think it's as comfortable as I expected it to be just based on Lisa's description. But again, I'll wear them a bit more and see like how they feel over time because the true test is wearing them for a longer time and seeing if your lips feel dry and tight. Right now, yeah, it does feel a little bit tight. I've layered it a couple of times, but I don't think I layered it that much for it to feel like this. But stunning. The look is amazing. I mean, come on. However, not my favorite formula so far. As for the rest of the products, the skin tint from Danessa Myrick. It's cute. It's a perfect shade match, but I do have to set it down a lot with powder, and that's not my go-to preference. I prefer a matte finish product that I don't have to powder as much. Even though I like powder, I don't want to have to layer on too much or constantly be touching up. And I've already touched up once so far just throughout filming with this. I really like the shade match and I do like how it applies and how lightweight it feels. So I'll definitely get use out of it just for like quick everyday things. Say I'm running out on an errand and I just want something quick to even out my complexion. I can wear this, but I prefer my Amico Lay skin tint over this one. But this is not bad. It's definitely a nice finish. It looks great. So if you have dry skin, normal skin, you may really like this. Or if you're oily and you still like that radiant finish, you may really like it. It feels more comfortable than the Yummy Skin foundation because it's not as thick and heavy. So I'll definitely use this more than that other product. As for the new bronzer, stick, and blush from Tarte, these, I don't know how to feel. On one hand, I like how easy they are to blend out. I like the texture of the product. It's very lightweight. It's very blendable, but it doesn't give a lot of punch. So you're gonna have to layer it up if you want to get full-on impact, which I don't really mind because I feel like bronzer can be subtle. It has its place for people who just want a subtle bronze look rather than a bronzer helmet. So there's a place for it, and if you're going to use it for contouring like your nose, it's going to be a very easy product to work with. But if you're looking for more impact, these may not be the way to go. There's not a lot of punch to them, but overall I like them. And the shade I would probably go, well, you know what, I can't even choose a shade because I feel like the 3 shades that I picked up are going to work for different purposes. So I picked up Midnight, which was the darkest one, After Dark, and Nightfall. After Dark is the one I used on my nose, and then Nightfall is the one that I used on my hairline and my jawline. They're okay. I'm gonna use them more though. It's great for the summertime because again, they have that lightweight feel. The blush stick I can do without. It did nothing. It literally did nothing. There was barely any color on my cheeks, so I can skip the blush stick, and I think they're only like 4 shades, and this one was one of the richer shades. So I can skip this altogether, but the bronzer sticks are so-so. the new shade of bronzer from Westman Atelier. Where did I put it? It's nice. The Beau Soleil. This is nice. It's a good little bronzer. It gives me a nice flush to my skin without being overwhelming. And I think if you have a slightly richer complexion than me, you will enjoy it. And this formula I've always loved. I think they can keep expanding the line though. Now they have 3 shades, which are doable, but there's always more to be done, right? I feel like bronzer is one of those complexion products in line with foundation and concealer. So foundation, you want to have the most shades so you can match the majority of skin tones. People can get a perfect match and they can use it all over their face, right? Concealer, you can kind of taper it a little bit and have less shades because one shade can be used for multiple skin tones, but you still want to have a decent range with various undertones and depths, right? And then a step down from that would be bronzers. Bronzers need a decent range with varying undertones and depth levels as well. I feel like you still need to have more neutral undertones for paler skin. You need golden undertones for tan skin, red undertones for rich skin, but even for rich skin you still need neutrals and golden shades because not everybody with a rich deep skin tone is going to have a red undertone or go for a red bronzer. So you want to have variations of shades available. So with bronzers, especially now when more people are getting into bronzers, you need a more expansive shade range than you think. 1 bronzer shade or 2, they're not gonna cut it right now. You need at least, like, to me, at least a solid 10 shades. And even with 10 shades, you're still not gonna cover everyone. So keep adding shades, okay? We wanna enjoy bronzers too. As far as the palettes go, I like the Sydney Grace formula and I like their matte eyeshadows. Heaven on Earth has more dark army green shades and then a couple of blues, but this is a really great neutral palette with a little bit of color going on. So instead of being just browns, we have more olive green shades and then a couple of blues. So I really like this one. And then Love's Journey is more of your true neutral palette. It has some warmer tones, some more neutral shades, and even some mauvey gray tone shades as well. Each row is like a different undertone and you can use the shades going from light to deep in each row or mix and match as we did in this look. So I think these palettes are really beautiful. If you got your hands on them, great. I still think my Cocoa Bean shade is the best dark brown that they make. I mean, come on, it saved this look. The shades did kind of get patchy, so I will say that. They weren't the best to work with. I don't know if it's something that I did wrong this time around or if it's really the eyeshadows themselves, but we still ended up with a really beautiful look. I mean, come on, it's smoky, it's sexy, it's sassy. I'm so in love with it. So yeah, overall, everything worked out. I just had to work a little harder, which actually helped me show you guys some more tips and tricks than I was intending to. And hopefully this video was helpful for you to maybe tiptoe into smoky looks. Maybe you were a little apprehensive, you weren't quite sure how to tackle it, and I kind of laid it out in this video for you. So hopefully you found this video helpful. I will go ahead and leave a full list of the products used and mentioned in this video down below in the description box, along with links on where you can pick them up. If there's an asterisk next to any of those links, that indicates that it is an affiliate link, which means I will get a small sales commission if you make a purchase through those links. It's a great way to show your support for the channel because I get a kickback, but it doesn't change the sale price. I also have YouTube shopping links, which also gives me a commission, so feel free to use those links as well. I also have channel memberships and super thanks. I appreciate your support so much for you guys giving back to the channel so I can put right back into the content. And I will also leave links to my Instagram and Twitter where you can follow me along. And until my next video, which will be very soon, I'll talk to you. Bye guys!